Everyone, gorgeous people, how beautiful to have you with us, and thanks for waiting for us this morning. It's always, as you know.
Oh, it's popped over and now I'm the host and Anaya has popped off for a minute. As you know, it's always interesting when we're trying to get up on air. Oh, she's coming back again. I just don't have any sound.
It's okay.
Here you are. What a day.
What a treat. What a treat, everyone. Actually, this kind of works out really well, doesn't it? Because you may have noticed on Angel Heart Radio recently, I've been being guided to put up a lot of banners that says choose to be calm. And it kind of shows, doesn't it, that when you're given something in guidance to share with others, it's usually because you need that yourself, right? Have you noticed that?
I know I certainly have, and this morning that's been the theme of the morning. But here we are, isn't it exciting? We're here, and it's lovely to welcome you all here with us today.
Absolutely. So today's program is Alchemising Fear. So let me just sort this out. Okay, so Alchemising Fear, what does that mean? So I'm going to explain to you what I mean when I say alchemizing fear. So many of you will know that an alchemical process is the shifting or the transforming of one material or energy into a higher frequency. So when we alchemize fear, we take that energy that is very dense, very heavy, and can be so incredibly scary with everything that's happening. We know that, right? We do understand that, but we take that energy and we transform it into a much more highly charged energy. We can shift that into love. We can, maybe not easily, but we can shift that into a powerhouse of energy and use that energy to help us really move in the world in the way that we want to. So as an example, say you're watching a lot of stuff about what's happening around the world, and you're feeling that very dense feeling of fear. Your survival mechanisms have all been triggered. Okay. So it's taking that energy and it's recognizing it. I'm feeling really scared right now. So we recognize it. I'm choosing to shift that energy. So put on some beautiful music, maybe get one of Tim's or mine or Diana Cooper's meditations, listen to that, and see yourself shifting that fear-based energy, because that is all trapped in your lower chakras, and see it rising up toward your heart center, where everything is just so peaceful and so sublimely gorgeous. And each and every one of us has that within us. And we can take that energy higher, can't we, Carol Ann? Would you like to talk a little bit about the different chakras that we can move that energy through?
Yeah, we can move that energy up through from our heart chakra up to our thymus or higher heart chakra. And then we can move it up to our third eye. And as we move up higher, we go up to our soul star chakra. And then we can go to the causal chakra. And the causal chakra is one of our connections to the angelic realm. And then we can go even higher to the stellar gateway. And so it's really interesting if you want to go and read something about all of the higher chakras. You can find that information. It's in Diana's information as well, to use all of these different chakras. And the exciting thing is that each of the archangels are connected to the chakras. And so just getting back down to our lower chakras, these are the chakras for when we were born and when we needed to survive. And so, as Anaya said, they're our survival chakras. But as we have grown and our higher self has come and stepped in and we've moved into a different consciousness, then we move up above our waist into our heart chakra. And our heart chakra is really, to me, it's like the center of the universe. And so when we go into our heart chakra, we can feel this amazing peace and love that we can radiate out to the world. And this is part of why we're here too, because as we've come through the darkness, and some of us are still there, we still have our little moments that we're still in the darkness, then our job is to shine bright and to lead the way out of the dark into the light for others. Because we're a beacon of energy. We're all a beacon of energy. Some days we might be a bit of a messy beacon of energy, but we're a beacon of light and a beacon of energy. And if, let's not step down into that fear, but if we step into the fear, recognize it, acknowledge it, see where it's affecting you within your physical body, and then go into your heart space and release it. And release it through all the levels, all of your bodies, your physical, your mental, your astral bodies, all of these things. Because this is why we're here. We're able to do these things. It might not seem easy, but give it a try. Because if you don't try, then you're never going to know, because your higher self helps to heal and restore your mind, your body, and your spirit. So is it time to place yourself higher and find balance and true happiness? And that's what we'll find as we're stepping higher up. We're mostly all in the 4D energy at the moment. So as we're stepping up to the 5D energy, it's not always easy, but we can do it.
Absolutely. This is a time for us to actually realize, recognize, and take action on the fact that we are really, we have master energy. We are master energy. The fact that we're having this conversation right now, the fact that we are even curious about it tells me a lot. So if you, for example, if you are finding that you are so drawn into all the drama of what's happening at the moment, if you find that you're kind of really trying not to watch those news reels, or you're trying not to read the papers online or talk with friends, yet you find that you're constantly drawn into it anyway, this is a very powerful time for you. This is where you use your alchemical energy, your master energy, to step out of that. Because let me clarify, when I'm talking about the matrix, I'm talking about the 3D world. Okay, the world that is geared on fear and lack, where it triggers all of your, and mine, if I let it, all of our survival mechanisms. This is a very well thought out plan of action. You have to make a decision now whether you want to get caught up in that and get triggered by that, or whether you want to step higher, step out, expand your radiance. It is, I find myself, Carol Ann, even I find myself wanting to, what did that say? When you go to Google something and that all the stuff flashes up, and I have to actually say to myself, Anaya, do you want to step into that, or do you want to step higher? And again, it comes back to the horse we were talking about the other day. The way the horse steps high? What do you want to do? Because it's up to you.
Yeah.
And because millions and millions and millions of people are actually unplugging from the matrix. They are unplugging from the 3D fear-driven, survival triggering ways of living and being on this planet. And you can understand, can't you, that as that energy is withdrawn, that old system is starting to, well, it's not even starting to, it is in panic. So it's throwing out the big guns.
Yeah.
It's throwing out, the whole, as I love Tim calls it, the fancy flu. I think you know what I mean when I'm talking about the fancy flu, everyone, with all the lockdowns, etc. So fancy flu kind of did it for a while, but then we realized that we could step out of that. And so many of us have. Then what do we have next? We go to the next stage. It's like the next floor in the elevator, and that's conflict. How do you get everyone's attention, trigger their survival mechanisms, keep them tuned in, locked in, feeling less than, feeling afraid. So again, it's not about saying, well, isn't this a terrible thing? Because again, that's the same thing, isn't it, Carol Ann? It's about, wow, look at us. We can see this. And we have a very clear choice. And we have the power and the energy and the divine support to make the choices that serve us, serve the planet, and serve the universe, because this is bigger than Earth. This is exciting to me, Carol Ann.
It is. It's very exciting to me. And if I can sort of step back a moment, it's like, well, for me, I've just been through this major medical situation. And then at the end of it, and I was released from one of the hospitals, I felt like I'd been set adrift. Like I had nothing tangible for me to hang on to. What if this happens? What if that happens? And I'd felt like very much like I had been set adrift, and there was nobody there to help me and to guide me. And so then it was about coming back into my own resources and knowing that, yes, I have all the resources within me that I need, because this is one of the things about remembering where we are in this ascension. We only feel helpless when we allow ourselves to feel helpless. So it's about just sort of getting back into your power. And we are more powerful than we could ever imagine. And when we believe and know that everything has been planned and that we are going to another dimension, which is going to be completely different to the 3D energy, which has been so held by the ego and by war and hate and greed and all of those things. We're moving towards this other energy. And so we need to let go of our fear. Mind you, being a human in a human body, fear is one of the things that's a big lesson for us. But I also want you to think about the fact that there's nothing to fear but fear itself. So if you can step away from that and realize that that's not going to hurt you. I know with some of my meditation girls, they asked me how I could watch the news and not be affected by all of the horrible things that are on the news. And I said, well, I see them, but I send them love. And so by me simply sending love to a situation, I know that I'm sending healing and love to that situation. And that is then sending healing and love back to me, because as we send it out, so we receive. And so I know that in my own small way, I can help any of these things that are happening that I see on television, because I'm sending it love. And you will find that if you do that, you will have a different perspective on all of us. And that fear then doesn't grow within you. Love is growing within you.
I'm not one of those people. You're amazing. So if that's how it is for you, then you'll understand exactly what Carol Ann is saying. For me, however, I don't plug into any of that ever. It doesn't work that way for me. I prefer to do it a different way. And I love the fact that you and I, Carol Ann, have different ways of going about the same thing. And because I think it shows people that you don't have to do it the way I do it. You don't have to do it the way Carol Ann does it. That I'm not wrong and Carol Ann's right, or vice versa. It is how it is for each of us. Mm-hmm. And on the live last week, I spoke about really tuning into your solar plexus chakra, because when I get into fear, I can feel the energy fall straight out of the bottom of that chakra. So really tuning into our energy system, our body, our emotions. How are we feeling? What are we thinking? Do we find we're flashing back to something that doesn't serve us? Maybe something we've seen or witnessed, or a conversation that we've had. All of these things will help and guide us. So it is constantly about coming back to us, coming into that beautiful space that is us. So, guilt. This is a big one. A lot of people are feeling guilty for any joy that they're experiencing when so many are suffering. Guilt will not serve you. It will not serve them. It will not serve the greater good. It will certainly not serve all the light flowing onto the planet, anchoring onto the planet, all the pillars of light that we are and can choose to expand on. So guilt is a really big one because it's insidious. It sneaks in. And we've been programmed from a very, very young age to feel guilty about everything, about absolutely every bit of joy we have, every ounce of laughter that we have in times of trouble or stress. So it's time to really recognize if you're feeling guilty and use your power of alchemy to transform that and to recognize, understand that once you alchemize fear into joy by experiencing the joy that might just pop in for you, that you go and, what's that word I'm looking for, Carol Ann? On purpose, you know that word? I can't think of it. When you feel joy on purpose, purposeful joy is a powerful tool. Radiate that joy out. Absorb that joy in. Because the guilt will only keep you locked in for more guilt, and then it will begin to taint every aspect of your life and your well-being and your families and your friends, your communities. It's a really big one, Carol Ann, isn't it? Because on the one hand, how can we be laughing and sharing joy when so much is happening? That's where our power of alchemy is so important, isn't it?
It is. And when we can recognize that, how powerful it is, sometimes it can be something also, part of the journey is about forgiving yourself for feeling that way. Because sometimes the guilt is because I'm guilty because I'm feeling that way. I'm guilty because I'm thinking, why do I have this and they don't have that? Why am I in my situation and why don't they? So one of the hardest people to forgive is ourselves. And so if we can forgive ourselves for feeling that way, and we can add that then to the alchemy about changing the whole situation. So we can mix it in and so that it's all working together. Because as Anaya is saying, it's not just one way that's right, because you need to find the way that works for you, because we're all different. Just as Anaya and I are different about the way we look at many things. But by the fact that we can assist you by telling you or sharing with you, I don't mean to say telling you, sharing with you our different ways of us dealing with these crises, because, it's just a distraction from your energy and your journey in this lifetime, because it would be lovely to know what it is that the main aim, what our contract is in this lifetime. I'd love to know it, to make sure that I was fulfilling it for what I'm meant to be doing. But if I feel that I am moving along that track and I feel that I'm sharing love and I'm doing the things that I feel I need to do in my life for me, because we can only, this is our soul's journey. We can only live our life. We can't live anybody else's life. This is our soul and our journey. And as long as we're coming from a place of love and compassion, consideration and kindness, then I feel that we're really fulfilling what it is that we're needing to do in this lifetime. And as we make our way through the ascension process.
Mm-hmm. It is one of the most powerful experiences ever for me. This, when I step into joy, when I step into love. There are some days I've had, family gatherings, and spending time with my family, like Carol Ann, is my top favorite thing to do in the whole world.
Mhm.
And you know, there are some days, Carol Ann, when you're with your family and there just seems to be a magical energy.
Yeah.
And I call those the golden days. That was one of the golden days. This energy is so gentle and soft and yet so powerful. So I like to choose to have as many golden days as I can. Yesterday, I sort of didn't do a lot, really. I did a lot, but I did some editing on a video and I cleaned out some boxes, but it was one of the golden days for me. The energy was just flowy, and all of a sudden, in the middle of it all, I thought, oh, wow, I'm so happy. I'm having a golden day. So this becomes a choice in many, many ways. And the choice as you make it may begin like the mustard seed, you know, it may begin as something so tiny that you usually wouldn't even recognize it. But by recognizing that and giving the energy to it of gratitude and love and just spending the moment to think, oh, that's beautiful. It grows and prospers. It generates. It begins to, it's like it has wings and the wings unfurl and it flies through our life. And when you go out into the world, you are a much happier person. I know I'm a much happier person. And you spread that energy simply by having it, because our auric fields are so enormously wide and deep and strong that by just experiencing ourselves without doing a single other thing, we're sharing that out into the world and our communities and families and our friends. There was a show, Carolyn, I don't know whether you ever saw it in Australia quite a while ago now, Who's Been Sleeping in My Room, I think it was called, something like that. An Australian archaeologist visited houses and looked at the past and the past residents of the houses. And one of the houses he visited was a family that fought constantly. There was always yelling and arguing and squabbling going on in the house until they moved to a new house. So he did some work on discovering why this might be. And it turns out that many years ago, this house was used as a home for people. And the people who ran that home found that to be such an incredible joy to give a happy home to people, to care for people and love people and support people. And there was a lot of joy in the household. So when this squabbly family, because that was just the way they were, when they moved into this house, suddenly they noticed they weren't arguing with each other. They weren't having the squabbles. The arguments ceased. So the energy of the house was already there and supporting them. And that's the alchemy we're talking about. And isn't that a beautiful and precious thing? So maybe it's a good time now, Carol Ann, if we just do a little, if I just do a little guided experience, just for a short, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, to bring us into the feeling of being accepting of having joy in our lives. What do you think?
Beautiful.
Okay. All right, everyone. Obviously, don't do this if you're driving. Come back later. You have to make these disclaimers. Okay, so just take a breath, everyone, and just feel where you are. Just allow your body to settle, relax, become receptive to love. As you listen to my voice, invite the angels of joy in, the unicorns of joy, all the divine beings of light who bring joy and acceptance of joy. And we invite you in. We give thanks for you. We ask you to help us to let go of guilt and receive joy. to experience joy, to share joy. And the fairies are coming in now, these beautiful, beautiful beings of such delicate joy. Breathe it in. Allow yourself to embrace joy. And we call on Archangel Michael for the courage to experience joy. And we further ask Michael to help us to release fear, guilt, and drama around having joy. And we call on Archangel Jophiel. And we ask you, as the angel of beauty, to help beautify our thoughts around our fears or guilt about experiencing joy in the midst of turmoil. We call on archangels and ascended masters, divine beings, pillars of light, to help us feel our own power and choice to be joyful, to recognize our magnificence, and to embrace our joy and magnificence. We call on Archangel Uriel to light our path clearly, to show us exactly which direction is the most beneficial, the most benevolent direction for us in any given moment. We call upon our higher selves to be willing to listen and to be willing to embrace the sheer magnitude of love and joy and peace and prosperity for all. Take that in to your heart. Take it into your mind and take it into your willingness. Breathe it in. Breathe it in and give thanks. We thank all the angels and benevolent beings, all the fairies. We thank ourselves for who we are in truth and the importance of our role here on earth. And take a breath. Feel the energy returning to your feet, your legs, your body, your hands, your arms, and your neck. When you're ready, just quietly and gently open your eyes. And welcome back. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Felt lovely.
You could see the fairies all flying around before you even said the fairies have arrived. As soon as it started, the fairies were there for me. So that was lovely.
It's wonderful. I saw them dancing as well. It's gorgeous, Caroline.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, one of the exciting things about the fairies and the unicorns and everyone is, you know, they come from such a place of love and happiness and joy. And you know, sometimes maybe it's just nice to stop and think about them when we're feeling, you know, we're not quite where we'd like to be, but to sit and think about these beautiful beings that are here to help us and to guide us and to love us. So.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I love it. It's such a powerful word, that one. I just feel so good, and I'm not even religious. It feels so powerful and so beautiful. Okay, so Carol Ann, is there something that you wanted to share uh, that I haven't covered
Well,
so far? We haven't covered so far?
no, I think we've covered everything, but I just highlighted something that our wonderful Tim Wilde had written the other day. So I'd just like to read that out if that's okay. Tim said, "We are exactly halfway through the most incredible shift from 3D to 5D. And from a human perspective, the world appears to be in turmoil. The third dimensional matrix has held power and controlled by the ego for countless millennia and is now making its final stand to attempt to stop the ascension process sweeping through planet Earth. As light workers, we are the boots on the ground. And although we are unified, strong, and vast in numbers, we are being called to do specific work to assist the higher realms." So to me, I thought that just touched and ticked a whole lot of boxes and explained what was happening. But it also said that, we can do this. We're the boots on the ground to do the job. And so,
I love that.
I thought it was just lovely. I just wanted to share that today.
I love that. I love that. I love that. We're the boots on the ground. And that kind of brings me, I guess we've touched on drama. So we know what drama is and how that is a very, they're actually saying it's a leeching energy. It will leach out of us. It will feel like we're losing our power of joy. And in some ways, we are, though we aren't, because the power of joy will always trump the drama energy if we choose it to. It's a much higher frequency, so therefore it's always going to be there, right? The power of drama doesn't have to be there. It's only there by invitation, right? And so the last point I guess I want to touch on now is dedication. What does dedication mean to you? In the past, dedication has meant for me, oh, what a hard slog. There's a whole lot of work and yada, yada, yada. Now, dedication means something very different to me. It means I hereby dedicate my light to the good of all, to the joy for all. I hereby dedicate my energy to be a pillar of light on this planet, to help raise the frequency, to become one of the millions and millions and millions of other souls here on earth who are also dedicating their energy to anchoring this amazing energy on the planet and not get caught up in the fear. Probably it's going to happen, sometime or other. Let's face it. I get caught up in every now and again, but then I alchemize that. I step out of it and I remember the truth. So I dedicate my energy to that as well. And I dedicate my energy to my heart energy, which is so beautiful. And I feel so wonderful when I'm in my heart energy. And that then opens up so much for me, Carol Ann, and I know it does for you too, because I can see it on your face when you're sharing something that's very meaning and beautiful for you.
Yeah, and I think it's important, and it's we have lots of words that, as we were growing up, meant certain things, but now that we've reached this stage, the meaning of the words are completely different. And you can make these words what you want them to be. And I agree thoroughly and totally with what the words that Anaya's used to describe it. But you can dedicate yourself to whatever feels right within your heart and within your higher self. Because the reality of it is we're all different, we're all unique, and we have our own way of doing so many things. And so it's about you as an individual, what you want to use to describe the things you want to be dedicated to. And it could be just I want to be healthy. Or, because if I'm healthy, then I can support myself and my family much better and go into these golden days better. So, I love Renee's words, and we're all individuals. And I agree thoroughly with the way it's all sort of working itself out, because it's a challenge life at this moment. It's a real challenge. And, you know, you're all getting challenged, and believe me, so are we. So, but by us being here and sort of showing you warts and all, you know, doing what we are, we know that, you know, it's helping us all in the broad picture. It really is. So you wouldn't be here if you didn't want to be here. And we're so glad you are here, because we love sharing this time with you. And we love, if you have questions or anything you want us to discuss, we'd love you to let us know so that we can do that as well.
Beautiful. So if there is a topic or something that's on your mind that you would like us to discuss on the program, do let us know, because we love bringing you what supports you. That is such a joy for us. There's the word again. That's such a joy for us. So if you are wanting to know anything about how you can tune in, who's on, when we're on, we've got a new numerologist on with us. Don't forget, everybody. Oh, that reminds me, I haven't put Elaine up on the website. AngelLight777.com. You will find Angel Heart Radio there. AngelHeartRadio.com. That will take you to the show guide. So I've tried to make it as simple as possible to give you the easiest ways to tune into what it is that calls you and will support you. So thank you, everyone.
We're here for you, and we want you to know how much we love you and appreciate you, and love being here with you.
We do indeed. We do indeed. So thank you, everyone, for sharing the time with us today. It is such a gorgeous feeling for us to know that of all the gazillion people on the planet, we've been drawn together. We've been guided together. That is truly beautiful. Okay. Thank you, Carol-Ann.
Thank you, Anaya. You've got a lovely breeze blowing in your background there.
I don't want it to blow too much that way, though, because you should have seen us before the show. Oh, my goodness. We had such a kerfuffle. And then my top kept disappearing. So I whacked it off, whacked a new one on, everything just on the couch. Okay, everyone. Thank you. Take very good care of you. Remember the spectacular light that you already are. That's your divinity. That is, wow, beyond anything I can describe. Yeah.
Definitely. Remember your magnificence.
Remember your magnificence. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, and we look forward to being with you then. Thank you, Carol-Ann.
Thank you, Anaya. Lots of love to you and to everybody. See you next week.
Lots of love, everyone.
Bye.